In the lush heart of Madagascar, a tropical island nestled in the Indian Ocean, a ruler emerged whose name became synonymous with terror. Ranavalona,I her reign, beginning in 1828, transformed a vibrant paradise into a realm of fear, having the island's population through relentless cruelty. Her story is one of cunning ambition, brutal consolidation of power, and a legacy that still haunts Madagascar, ascension through blood. Born around 1788 as Ramavo, a commoner, her life took a dramatic turn when her father uncovered a plot against King Adriana Poinarine. As a reward, she was adopted into the royal family and married to the king's son, Radama. Their marriage was strained, marked by Radama's preference for his other wives and his execution of Ramavo's relatives, sowing seeds of resentment. When Radama died in 1828 under mysterious circumstances, Ramavo seized her moment. Knowing the rightful heir, her nephew Rakatob, she orchestrated a swift and bloody coup. Soldiers loyal to her stormed the palace in Antananarivo, and she declared herself queen. Taking the name Ranavalona,I opponents faced a stark choice: loyalty or death. Rakatob and his family were executed, and within hours, dissent was crushed. A reign of isolation and terror. Ranavalona's rule was defined by her fierce rejection of foreign influence and unwavering commitment to traditional Malagasy customs. She saw Western ideas, particularly Christianity, as threats to her sovereignty. In 1835, after surviving an illness she attributed to the power of Madagascar's sacred talismans, the Sampi, she banned Christianity. The persecution that followed was merciless. Christians who refused to renounce their faith were tortured, thrown from cliffs, boiled alive, or crucified. In one brutal day in 1836, 14 Christians were executed. Missionaries fled, and Ranavalona mocked their departure, declaring their gods powerless. Her most infamous tool of terror was the Tangenit ordeal, a traditional practice she turned into a mechanism of mass execution. Suspects drank poison derived from the toxic Tangena nut, along with 3 pieces of chicken skin. If they vomited all 3, they were deemed innocent. Failure meant death. Thousands perished. Annually estimates suggest 5,000 to 10,000 each year. Even the dead were subjected to Tangena, their inability to vomit, allowing the crown to seize their assets. One notable victim was Andrea Mahaja, a high-ranking officer and Ranavalona's former lover. Accused of infidelity, he refused the ordeal and chose death by spear, calmly guiding the executioner's hand. Defiance against foreign powers. Ranavalona's disdain for foreigners extended to military conflicts. In 1849, when France attempted an invasion, her forces repelled them, capturing and beheading 21 European soldiers. Their heads were displayed on stakes along the coast, a grim warning that fueled her belief in her divine authority. This victory intensified her isolationist policies, severing trade with Europe and devastating Madagascar's economy. To compensate, she expanded the slave trade, selling war captives and even her own people to foreign markets, tearing families apart and condemning many to brutal deaths en route. Forced labor and megalomania. Ranavalona replaced taxes with venampona, a system of forced labor that became a death sentence for many. Peasants were conscripted as soldiers, porters, or laborers for grandiose projects, often without food or shelter. Entire villages were uprooted, and refusal meant annihilation. Homes burned, families trapped inside. Her most notorious project was a summer palace in the mountains, where 50,000 workers hauled massive stones without tools. Over 2 years, 10,000 died. When informed of the toll, Ranavalona reportedly said, "Stone and lime bind stronger with blood. The palace will endure." She visited it only 3 times, dismissing it due to poor weather. Her army, numbering 20,000 to 30,000, crushed rebellions with savage efficiency. Villages were razed, survivors enslaved, and atrocities abounded. Children beheaded, pregnant women mutilated, men burned alive. Ranavalona's paranoia grew with age. Minor infractions, like tripping in her presence or a suspicious glance, could lead to execution. She once banned the color purple, forcing people to destroy anything bearing the hue, from clothes to flowers. Contradictions and European fascination. Despite her rejection of Western ideologies, Ranavalona was intrigued by European culture. She kept a broken piano, demanded courtiers wear French clothing, became obsessed with soap, learning its production from missionaries she later expelled. She spared a few Europeans, notably Jean Laborde, a shipwrecked French engineer who became her industrial advisor, overseeing factories for weapons and textiles. Her son, Prince Rakoto, opposed her cruelty and secretly worked to mitigate it. Saving some from execution and resisting Tangina rituals, his compassion enraged Ranavalona, who forced him to witness executions to toughen him. In 1855, Rakoto collaborated with Joseph Francois Lambert, a French businessman, on a charter granting resource rights in exchange for help overthrowing his mother. The plot failed in 1857, triggering renewed persecution. Ranavalona expelled or executed foreigners, though she spared Rakoto, perhaps her only act of restraint. A legacy of fear, Ranavalona's final years were marked by escalating madness. She executed servants for trivial errors, held banquets during executions, and invented sadistic punishments like death races, where condemned prisoners ran from soldiers' spears. She ordered a futile rhinoceros hunt, resulting in hundreds of deaths, and even exhumed corpses to work by tying them to posts. When she died in August 1861 at 73, Antananarivo breathed a cautious sigh of relief. Her funeral was elaborate, not out of respect, but fear, with rituals to trap her spirit. Her final words, reportedly screamed, were of demons and chains of fire. Radama II reversed her policies, restoring religious freedom and trade. His reforms provoked a coup in 1863, ending his life. Ranavalona's reign, spanning 33 years, left Madagascar scarred. She halved the population, shattered the economy, and entrenched a culture of fear. While her isolationism delayed colonization, it weakened the nation, paving the way for French rule in 1896. A haunting legacy. Ranavalona's name remains a whisper of dread in Madagascar. Some view her as a nationalist who preserved sovereignty, but the cost was catastrophic. Villages vanished, bloodlines ended, and traditions were warped into tools of terror. Her legacy is not one of glory, but of calculated cruelty. A queen who turned paradise into a monument of suffering, her shadow lingering in Madagascar's collective memory.